Is chi a substance? That is going to be the topic of this episode of Chi Life. All right, so in some ways this is a little bit of a repeat or a follow-on from a vlog I did quite a while ago, which was titled, Is Chi Really Bioelectricity? So you might want to look back at that one as well. And the reason I'm making this vlog is, well, this addresses a slightly different aspect of that question of, really, is chi this, just one easily defined thing? Can we narrow it down like that? Or is it something much bigger than that? And the reason why I'm making this vlog is because I have seen some people specifically saying, oh, chi is a substance, implying that it's not other things. And so I thought that's worth addressing. It's a bit of an oldie, but a goodie really, to think like, oh, chi is a substance, or chi is bioelectricity. This thinking of like narrowing it down and trying to make it, just this one thing. I kind of hope that overall we're moving beyond that, into recognizing the breadth of the way that we use the term chi and how it's been used over a long period of time to describe many different things. Essentially, the way most people use the term chi, and again, how it's been used most broadly over time, is simply as living energy. Now, within that living energy, there are actually many different parts that form different aspects of our chi. If you think, what does it take to be alive? What different aspects of energy do you have to have? There's different parts. There's heat. There does need to be substances as part of this. There's substance within our body. There's different chemicals involved in producing energy within our body. There's electricity. There's movement. We need to have physical movement. There's all of these different components of energy that come together to make up our life force energy. Now, of course, this is part of what makes chi such a versatile concept or term, the way that it describes all of these together. And I think that's very useful to be able to describe the way all of these things come together as one chi, one life force energy. It can make it a little bit frustrating in some ways for some applications because we can't really narrow it down to just one thing. That does make it very hard to measure in an objective way, and so on. But people have still tried, and some of these efforts I think have been worthwhile if you understand them in concept or in context. So again, there have been people who have tried to measure chi in terms of bioelectricity. I mentioned that one before, and that's really, really useful actually to understand different aspects of bioelectricity and that aspect of our chi or our living energy. People have also tried to measure it in terms of emitted radiation. So particularly far infrared, there's a portion of the electromagnetic spectrum that we as humans emit, that many living things emit, in the far infrared portion. And this is often seen in terms of using Qigong as a healing treatment. And this can be measured, the heat that we emit, right? And is that heat that we emit, is that not chi? Some people certainly think it is chi, and broadly, you'd consider it to be chi, and that's something that can be measured. That's really useful too. There are other people who have tried to measure and sort of quantify our chi, our living energy, in terms of vibration, certain types of vibration that we can emit, and that people skilled in doing things like Qigong and healing emit a lot more of, and it's in the sound frequencies, that physical vibration. There are people who've made machines for measuring this and so on. Is any one of these things chi in its entirety? Of course not. Are each of these things parts of chi? Yeah, of course they are. There's all sorts of different aspects in our energy, and energy also that goes out into our energy field, and all of these are parts of our chi. They're not chi by itself. So could you say in some context that chi is a substance? You could be correct in saying something like that if you qualify it and say, in this particular aspect, this particular application, the aspect of qi that we're interested in is a substance. I do know one older practitioner from an older generation, studying in a past era, when some of these ideas about measuring qi in scientific terms were really in their heyday, and people were trying different things. There was quite a lot of enthusiasm about it. Most of those ways of measuring, again, people have managed parts, aspects of qi, but like measuring qi as a whole, people haven't seemed to continue those efforts, I think, because I don't know if they've realized it's futile. Because that's not what it is. It's a concept much broader than that, or just they didn't get as much traction as they wanted. But this particular Qigong practitioner from that generation of practitioners, I remember having a conversation with him one time, and he was saying he didn't know exactly what the Qi was, and he was more specific. It wasn't just Qi in general, because of course we emit light and heat and magnetism and all these things. These are parts of qi as well. He was talking specifically about the qi that circulates within our meridians. And he said, I don't know what it is exactly, but he's sure that part of it is sodium hydroxide. Now, I don't know exactly how he came to his conclusion that part of it was sodium hydroxide, but there's a certain sense to that. You're talking about ions within the body with a charge moving around within the fluids of the body, which would then create, movement of charge and movement of electrical energy within the body. Like, there's a certain sense there in describing some parts of the movement of qi within our body. Now, do I think that's the whole picture of the movement of energy within our meridians? Of course not. There's more to it as well. There's some people who've done some interesting research showing the movement of heat specifically within the meridian pathways as well. So interesting. All these different parts. You could, if you narrow it down, say, hey, in this application, we're interested in qi as a particular substance. That's what we're measuring. But that doesn't mean that that is all of qi. Because if qi really was a substance, I'm going to be a little bit silly at this point. Why hasn't someone bottled it? Or made it into a pill, and you could just give people qi pills or qi drinks, to boost their qi. If it was a substance, you could have a qi transfusion. We know it doesn't work that way. Again, on the silly side, I do actually know someone, it's this same person who I was talking about, who was quite sure that at least certain aspects of qi were sodium hydroxide, that actually made a drink and called it qi. And so it's a soft drink which has a Chinese herbal formula in it, just a small amount of it. And other than that, it's sugar and carbonated water and that sort of thing. And that drink is actually still available in some parts of the world. A company bought the rights to this drink, and he called it qi. Spelt the old Wade Giles way, so not pinyin, not QI, spelt CHI. There was some really clever marketing around it and things like that. It was a cool little gimmick, and my understanding is it was quite a good Chinese herbal formula that went into it. It was like, yeah, qi, boost your energy. It was like an energy drink way before Red Bull, way before any of those other things. It was this herbal energy drink. So anyway, that's pretty cool. But yeah, can we narrow qi down to just one thing? Can we say it's a substance? Can we say it's just electricity? Can we say it's just light? Can we say it's just heat? Can we say it's just vibration? I really don't think we can. It would narrow down how we use that term too much. And it's really useful to be able to consider these all together to understand overall what's happening with different aspects of our energy. Can we perhaps narrow it down to one of these things for a specific purpose, for measuring something specific? Absolutely, I think we can. Or for talking about a certain aspect of our qi, absolutely we can. But to say that that is qi, in its entirety is inaccurate. We would either need to come up for a new term for what we mean collectively by all of our energy, or I don't know, specific to it, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to narrow it down in that way. Understanding what chi is, I guess this is a thing, it's a challenge maybe for our mind sometimes, that where we want to be able to narrow things down to specific things. And one of the challenging things with chi is it does have all these specific aspects to it, but then it has this collective aspect to it as well. And so some parts we can understand in very clear, definable ways, and other parts it's really difficult to define. If you're interested into looking into that more, well, and part of that is actually what makes it so useful as a term, as a concept as well. If you're interested in that, there is an article I wrote a while ago on the Long White Cloud Qigong website, and it's called "What is Qi?" That's the title of the article, and looking at these two sides of this concept of Qi, where we have the very practical, and then we have the more hard to define, maybe more esoteric, and how these come together. You might want to check that out. I'll put a link to that in the description below. I'll also put a link to that earlier vlog on Is Qi Really Bioelectricity? I'm sure I talk about a few different aspects of things in there too. Yeah, and you might find that interesting. All right, I hope you enjoyed the vlog. I look forward to seeing you on another one soon.